These guys think they can pull the fucking wool over our eyes with colorblind meritocracy. We're not fucking buying it. We know what your real plan is. You want to bring in foreigners to increase profit margins? We're not fucking buying it. All right, so this tweet right here, guys, right? So during the H1B debacle, right? And I've explained this before, but I'll quickly recap this for you guys. Going back, let's go back to December 24th, roughly right before Christmas, right? Laura Loomer starts up a fucking hornets. She basically kicks the hornet's nest, and she starts becoming very critical of Trump's nominations in his team, right? Some of these people are tech bros. Some of these people are billionaires, right? The Bill Ackmans, the Sachs, the fucking the Suriname guy, I forget his name, that Trump got involved to be involved with the AI stuff, who also himself was a visa holder. But the long story short is this. She was critical of the H1B visa and how it brings foreign labor here, and how H1B visas historically have been a kind of a backdoor way to get a bunch of foreign labor under the guise of it being skilled labor, okay? They come in, they get these tech jobs, they take these jobs from American citizens because they're able to go ahead and be paid less, and it creates issues, right? So this caused a huge rift on Twitter, right? It was literally a fucking world war. There were two different fronts. There were the people that were pro H1B visa, right? That were on Vivek and Elon Musk's side. And then there were guys that were opposing the visa that were against Elon Musk and Vivek, right? Because the tech bros are on one side of MAGA. We're saying, no, it's good. And the MAGA supporters, the loyalists, were like, no, this is not good, right? Laura Loomer led the charge on the anti-H1B, and Elon, obviously, and Vivek were leading the charge for the H1B, okay? In response to the backlash that Vivek and Elon got, because they were getting ratioed and embarrassed all over the place, by the way, right? In response to the backlash that Vivek got, he wrote this tweet. I personally think that this tweet was instrumental in having him step down. It was wildly unpopular, right? We're going to read it. So it goes here. The reason top tech companies often hire foreign-born and first-generation engineers over Native Americans isn't because of an innate American IQ deficit, a lazy and wrong explanation. A key part of it comes down to the C word, culture. Tough questions demand tough answers, and if we're really serious about fixing the problem, we have to confront the truth. Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long, at least since the 90s and likely longer. That doesn't start in college, it starts young. Keep in mind, guys, that Vivek's only he's not even 40 years old, he's about 39. So he's born probably mid-80s, probably more than likely. And he is from Ohio, born in the United States to immigrant parents. A coach that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers. A culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World or Zach and Slater over Screech and Saved by the Bell or Stefan over Steve Urkel in Family Matters will not produce the best engineers, okay? For those that aren't familiar with these 90s shows, basically the cool kid versus the nerd is what he's comparing with these different characters. Fact, I know multiple sets of immigrant parents in the 90s who actively limited how much their kids could watch those TV shows precisely because they promoted mediocrity. And their kids went on to become wildly successful STEM graduates. More movies like Whiplash, fewer reruns of Friends, more math tutoring, fewer sleepovers, more weekend science competitions, fewer Saturday morning cartoons, more books, less TV, more creating, less chilling, more extracurriculars, less hanging out at the mall. Most normal American parents look skeptically at those kinds of parents. More normal American kids view those kinds of kids with scorn. If you grow up aspiring to normalcy, normalcy is what you will achieve. Now close your eyes and visualize which families you knew in the 90s, or even now, who raised their kids according to one model versus the other. Be brutally honest. Normalcy doesn't cut it in hyper-competitive global market for technical talent. If we pretend like it does, we'll have our asses handed to us by China. This can be our Sputnik moment. We've awakened from slumber before, and we can do it again. Trump's election hopefully marks the beginning of a new golden era in America, but only if our culture fully wakes up. A culture that once again prioritizes achievement over normalcy. Excellence over mediocrity, nerdiness over conformity, hard work over laziness. That's the work we have cut out for us, rather than wallowing in victimhood and just wishing or legislating alternative hiring practices into existence. I'm confident we could do it. to American flags. 119 million views, 155K likes. And obviously, you got a bunch of people here in the comments. Mike Cernovich writes, the Woodstock generation managed to build out aerospace, the one before we went to the moon. He missed a typo there. America was doing great. Underlying your post is that we were all living in squalor until being rescued by H1Bs. Then why did everyone want to come here? X says, that version of America, the one that used to embody unbridled exceptionalism, is exactly what we wanted to return to. That's a point about culture, not immigration policy. Do you really need to start listing American inventors and what the world wouldn't have without us? That's the version of America I want to see us return to. We tried this during COVID. Control of America was effectively handed over to the Screeches and Steve Urkels. It was not good. That's Jack Postis saying that. And then if our culture, and you guys just see like all these people are responding, these big accounts are responding. Elijah Schaefer goes, white people built marvelous nations that were nearly completely white until 1965. We managed to build some of the greatest cities in the world and inventions other countries could only copy. We didn't have the H1B visa replacing our jobs and we're fine. This is about cheap labor. Yeah, it's facts. Only the best of the best should be in our country, people that can do jobs that Americans can't do. When he says, oh, Matt, so you guys can see here, right? All these people saying this stuff. The brutal truth, thank you, this guy Colin Rugg says. This guy's like a fucking Vivek D sucker, though. So what do I think about all this, right? And that kind of brings me to this because multiple news stories were going on. We get Vivek leaving DOGE, but then we have to analyze why Vivek left DOGE. And a big part of the reason why he left DOGE was this tweet, right? Wildly unpopular. People disliked it, right? Because what he's basically saying is, hey, for lack of a better term, Americans are lazy and we don't prioritize science, technology, engineering, math, etc. And it's the immigrants that do that, whatever it may be. So, as you guys know, Trump got rid of DEI, right? He's closing down a bunch of DEI offices. It's great, right? Now, we're going to go back in time a little bit. Before DEI, diversity, inclusion, whatever the fuck it stands for. Hold on. It stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Sorry. Right? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. So before DEI, guys, it used to be affirmative action. Okay? And what affirmative action worked to do was to narrow the gap between the white male, let's just call it what it is, the white male, and every other group of people. Okay? There was this premise that Caucasian men had all the economic, social, and cultural superiority and leverage. And in having it that way, from this country being built by white men, let's just be honest, our forefathers were all white Europeans. As a byproduct of being the founders of this country and creating this country and writing the Constitution and fighting in the wars, etc., they had institutional power over many decades or hundreds of years, right? We're a relatively new nation, guys, right? So this term affirmative action came to play, and the goal was to level the playing field and almost reel back some of this advantageous head start that Caucasian men have, right? Telling you guys what it is. Now, I would argue, right? That's what affirmative action, their purpose. I would argue within the last 20 to 30 years that affirmative action has been very aggressive. We've hired people that quite frankly don't deserve certain positions. We've put people in positions of power based on the color of their skin versus their meritocracy, or their gender. We've passed up people that were white men so that we can go ahead and hire someone that might be a black woman or someone from India or someone from China or maybe someone who is Hispanic. We've prioritized making things politically correct over excellence. And this has been going on for many decades. Affirmative action, I would say within the last 20 to 30 years, has been wildly unpopular, right? So what did they do? They rebranded affirmative action and created DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI is nothing more than, a rebranding, repackaging of affirmative action, right? And I've shown you guys before how DEI influences the hiring practices. We're looking at LA right now, right? We make fun of the DEI fire chief, etc., who is like some lesbian woman or something that isn't even in shape. We look at the TikToks of the female firefighters that can't do push-ups, right? We see the police officer females that are shooting suspects when they disarm them. Yes, I kid you not. I literally saw a woman disarm a guy that was compliant during a traffic stop, and she shot him. Was she trying to retrieve his weapon, right? We see these hundreds of police videos where female police officers are not able to do what they're supposed to do because they're not in shape, they're not strong enough, they're not competent enough, right? We saw Pete Hegseth get rolled during his confirmation hearing for his comments about putting women in positions of combat, being called a sexist or whatever. And this disdain, this pushback for what was once affirmative action now being called DEI, it comes from years of frustration of inadequacy. We've prioritized feelings over facts. We've promoted making people feel good over biological realities. And DEI is what I consider the final boss of this problem. It's been something that's been pissing off the right for a long time. So Trump comes into office, and one of his first executive orders is to get rid of DEI. I like it, right? And in turn, change that DEI into what is now being defined as colorless meritocracy. Now, on paper, a colorless meritocracy sounds good, doesn't it? Hey, we can, just put the best and the brightest. Let's put the best and the brightest in, right? Let's just get the best people and put them in the job. But what this H1B visa debacle taught me was people like Elon Musk, like Vivek Ramaswamy, Bill Ackman, and all these other guys, these tech bros, who are closeted liberals, by the way, that just became Republicans this fucking year. The H1B visa debacle taught me they're for a colorblind meritocracy, but they're not for what I call Americantocracy. Let me explain. When I first heard this concept of colorless meritocracy, I said, awesome, great. Let's put the best people in, right? But colorblind meritocracy is nothing more than mass immigration with a fucking mask. I'm gonna say that again. This H1B visa debacle with Elon and Vivek and all these other people, even Charlie Kirk, talking about stapling fucking the green cards to diplomas. It's nothing more than mass immigration with a fucking mask on. That's what it is. And this is what a lot of people are scared to admit. This is what will get you in trouble on X. This is what will get your verification taken away. This is what will get you demonetized. Because when they say colorblind meritocracy, what that means is we're going to get people from all over the world and import them here because they're merit. But what I say is, I'm for a colorblind meritocracy only if they're American. So what I'm saying is, I want an Americantocracy, not a colorblind meritocracy, because that is nothing more than a euphemism for more fucking immigrants. That's what it really means. They want to bring people from China. They want to bring people from India. They want to bring people from these countries that have enormous populations where it's difficult to get jobs, that will come here on visas and work for half the price. That's what they want. That's what they want, right? They want to get rid of illegal immigrants, but legally import even more immigrants to fill these jobs. And we can see through the fucking smoke, guys. That is why Elon Musk fought tooth and nail to silence and hurt those that were critical of the H1B visa, because we could see it coming. So when Vivek says stupid shit like this, where American culture has been poisoned because X, Y, Z, blah, 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 all this other stuff, fine. If that's your argument, then we need to fix things at home. We don't need to import more fucking people in. Because if you bring in foreign cheap labor, there's no impetus to actually correct things here at home. I agree, we do have cultural problems. I do agree that a lot of Americans are idiots. I do agree that we need to reform our education system. But that doesn't mean that we're going to give up on the American public and the American people by importing a bunch of people from foreign lands that refuse to assimilate, that refuse to learn our language, that refuse to accept our customs, that take jobs away from totally capable American citizens. And that's the problem with these fucking globalists. They're not nationalists. When you're a globalist, your job is to make as much money as possible utilizing the globe. You cannot become a billionaire without being a globalist. Sorry. There's no such thing as someone that's a patriot that's also a globalist. Sorry. If you're worth $500 million to $1 billion, it's going to be very difficult for you to be a nationalist. It's going to be very difficult. Because for you to get that business a lot of the times and make that kind of money, you need to ensure that you're dealing in the global market, not necessarily just the American market. And that's fine. That's what makes this country so beautiful. We're a capitalist society. But I'll be fucking damned if we're going to have globalists in our fucking government where we need to be nationalists. Nationalism is something that's been admonished ridiculed, and attacked for several decades. They often cite people like Mussolini and these guys are fascists, nationalists is bad. I don't know about you guys, but when I grew up, every day when you started school, you would pledge allegiance to the flag. That flag right there, right? One nation under God. But now, we're letting dickheads take a kneel, cry and complain, Black Lives Matter, when in reality, they live in the best country in the fucking world that even allows them to take a fucking kneel when the national anthem is being sung. The fact that they can even protest and take a kneel during the national anthem proves their privilege. Ironically enough, right? So I say all that to say this. First, we had affirmative action. Then we got DEI, both wildly unpopular. Affirmative action did nothing but put a mask on and call itself DEI. Then DEI gets banned and we have a colorblind meritocracy. And I'm here to tell you guys, this colorblind meritocracy bullshit that they're talking about, it's affirmative action and DEI with a mask on. Because this H1B visa debacle proved that guys like Vivek, guys like Elon, they don't give a fuck about normal Americans. They care about the bottom line. And that's by virtue of who the fuck they are. Because they're billionaire businessmen. Billionaire businessmen don't care about people like me and you. They care about the bottom line. If that means that they got to bring in cheap foreign labor to increase profit margins, they're going to fucking do it. If that means that they're going to abuse our immigration system, they're going to fucking do it. These guys aren't nationalists. They don't care about us. And they never did. Guys like Elon and Vivek and these tech bros, they've been rich so fucking long, if you ask them, what does a carton of eggs cost nowadays? They wouldn't know. Guys like that haven't stepped in a grocery store in 10 plus years probably. You guys understand the difference here? These are the kinds of guys where they don't walk around in public without security. They don't drive their own cars. They fly private jet everywhere. They forgot what it's like to be a regular person. Thankfully for me, and I thank God for this, I grew up really poor. I didn't become financially really well off until I was damn near 30. So I understand what it's like to go to a grocery store, pick up some food, and realize, shit, I don't got enough. I got to put some of that back. I know what it's like where you're driving around and you're low on fucking gas and you're like, shit, I got to wait till Friday. Can't put gas in this thing. I know what it's like to fucking look through and try to find coupons and try to save money, right? So when they say this stupid shit, part of it is nefarious, but another part of it is also obliviousness. These guys aren't like us, and they'll never be like us. So when they say colorblind meritocracy, what they're not telling you is by any means necessary. One more time, guys. When they say colorblind meritocracy, also known as DEI part 2 and affirmative action part 3, what they're really saying is blind, colorless meritocracy by any means necessary. Well, I'm here to coin a new term for you guys. We want Americantocracy, which means what passport do you carry? You're an American? Great. Because the only way for us to save this country is for us to save it ourselves, which means Americans need to get these positions. So anyway, with that said, that's my monologue on that. These guys think they can pull the fucking wool over our eyes with colorblind meritocracy. We're not fucking buying it. We're not fucking buying it. We know what your real plan is. You want to bring in foreigners? One condition. Make them get an O1 visa. Make them get I forgot what the other one is. But there's like 2 main visas for extraordinary capability. Make them get those visas. Because guess what? If you get an O1 visa, that means that we can't necessarily replace your skill set in America. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Make them earn it. Make them fill out that packet. Make them actually have to fucking come here where we can't do what they do. We want scientists. We want engineers, all sorts of shit. Make them do O1 visas. Oh, but wait, you don't want to do that, do you? You don't want to do that. Because the reality is, these people that we're bringing in aren't bringing in skill sets that we don't already have here, man. And this is the problem. We let these fucking globalists that don't even know how much milk costs come in and be in positions of power to try to reform our immigration or our economy. They have no clue. No fucking clue. Elon Musk, if you think about it, he's a naturalized U.S. citizen. But when he went to Twitter to complain or to push back against guys like me and others that were talking about the H1B visa as being like not good and importing more work isn't good, what did he do? I'll tell you what he did. He said, I came into the country on the H1B visa. I will fight you guys for this, right? Does that sound like someone who's an American? To me, it sounds like he's an immigrant that's like kind of like, yo, I came here on this visa. I'm going to fight you guys tooth and nail to preserve it. Meanwhile, someone like me, who I've been very transparent with you guys, I'm just like Elon and Vivek. I was born in the United States. to immigrant parents, just like Vivek. Elon came here and naturalized, right? Why do I say this? I say it to say I should be agreeing with them because I'm closer actually to their background than a lot of these people on the right that have an issue with what they're doing. But I've been honest enough and I've been transparent with you guys where I told you guys my background on my father. My father came here, he drove a taxi, he got robbed many times, he got attacked, but he never once took $1 of welfare. He never once took government assistance. He was a very proud man, right? And he always used to remind me this anytime I did something stupid at school. I came to this country, I'm not taking any government aid, I'm not doing any of this bullshit, I'm not scamming like everybody else. You need to become a somebody. And when I was a kid, that didn't stand with me. It didn't make sense, right? Then I grow up, fast forward like 30 plus years, and I find out that like people that emigrated here from Sudan or the Middle East, etc., they were all on welfare. While my dad was struggling to try to fucking figure a way to make money or whatever, all these people were gaming the system, right? And this is the very ugly truth of someone who grew up as a first generation American. A lot of the time, these people that we import are not good for the country, man. Call it like it is. That's the really ugly truth, Vivek, Elon. For every one straight edge family that comes in and does what they're supposed to do and contributes to society, there's like 10 others that be on some fuck shit. So though Elon might be an exception to the rule and he was an H1B visa holder that ended up doing something, that doesn't refute the fact that a lot of people come here, a lot of these immigrants come here and fuck shit up. A couple of days ago, a U.S. Border Patrol agent was killed. You want to know who killed him? A foreign national that came to the United States on an H1B visa and overstayed. Can't make this shit up, chat. Can't make this shit up. So again, immigrants have their place. I understand that they could be an asset, but we really need to focus on bringing the best and the brightest. That's an O1 visa, not an H1B. Colorblind meritocracy is a fucking scam, and it's a lie. We need to go to Americantocracy. You guys can thank me for that fucking term later. But anyway, move on to the next topic. Hope you guys enjoyed that little monologue. I didn't want to yap too much there.